See, the bottom line is, I know you like me, and this room is a love fest, I know that. But you have no choice but to vote for me because your 401ks, down the tubes, everything's going to be down the tubes. So whether you love me or hate me, you got to vote for me.
Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumadeva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumadeva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumadeva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. I am Renuka Ranjit Ramnunan, a Vedic astrologer. And today I will delve into the astrological chart of Mr. Donald J. Trump with a focus on his business endeavors and political trajectory. I will discuss the primary houses and their lords, notably the 1st, 5th, and 10th houses, while also touching upon the contributions of other significant houses that support Mr. Trump's mission to make America great again. Additionally, I will explore the influences of the Atma Karaka, the Amatya Karaka, the D10 career chart, along with the roles of the dashas, current transits, and BCP. It is essential to note that this analysis is not a reflection of my personal views. Rather, it is a professional insight derived from his chart and substantiated by Mr. Trump's public actions and standing as a figure in business and politics. With that said, let us proceed. Let's start by learning a little bit about Mr. Trump. He was born on June 14, 1946 in Queens, New York. He is an American businessman, media personality, and politician who served as the 45th President of the United States from 2017 to 2021. He is the son of the late Fred Trump and Mary Trump. In the 1970s, he joined the family business, focusing on real estate development and branding. Mr. Trump is known for developing prominent hotels, casinos, and skyscrapers, most notably the Trump Tower in Manhattan. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in economics with a focus on real estate from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business in 1968. Mr. Trump gained widespread fame as the host of the reality TV show The Apprentice from 2004 to 2015. In 2015, he announced his candidacy for the presidency as a Republican running on a platform of populism, immigration reform, and America First policies. He did go on to win the 2016 election against Democrat Hillary Clinton. During his presidency, he implemented tax reforms, renegotiated trade deals, and appointed 3 Supreme Court justices. His administration faced significant controversies, including 2 impeachments. The first in 2019 stemmed from allegations of abuse of power related to Ukraine, and the second in 2021 involved incitement of the January 6th Capitol riot. He was acquitted both times by the Senate. After losing the 2020 election to Democrat Joe Biden, he remained active in Republican politics and announced a run for the 2024 presidential election. His tenure and political style remain polarizing, having left a lasting impact on the American political landscape. Currently, Mr. Trump is married to Melania Trump, with whom he has 1 son. He was previously married twice and has 4 other children from these marriages. Now, let's take a look at his chart, the Janma Kundli. The ascendant, the 1st house, is Leo. Its symbol is the lion, The first house is one's nature and personality. How does a lion behave? It's the king of the jungle, right? Leo gives him a very kingly personality. He's charismatic, ambitious, and he has a strong drive for leadership. Leo is ruled by the powerful sun. The sun is often associated with authority, making him suited for roles of prominence, like a CEO, a manager, and even a president. Leo is also a fixed fire sign, adding qualities like sustained confidence, decisiveness, and a direct approach. This influence makes him straightforward, strict, and very outspoken. He does have a very fiery personality. He does not shy away from bold missions. He speaks his mind. The ascendant is also aligned with the powerful star Regulus, which is stationed in Leo, enhancing his leadership potential. It makes him an influential figure on a global scale. This star is commonly associated with powerful leaders, giving him a natural drive to lead. Also close to Taurus is Capella. Capella is another significant star in his chart. It represents freedom, authority, independence, and success, contributing to his prominence, and it also protects him throughout his life. Mars, the 4th and 9th lord of Bhagya, which is good fortune and luck, is placed in his first house in Leo, making it a Yogakaraka, a highly beneficial planet for him, because the 4th house is a foundational house, and the 9th is a strong pillar holding up his life. This is a wonderful place for Mars. When strong in the chart, Mars fights for the truth, is a warrior, a chief and commander, and has a disciplined and aggressive nature. So naturally, it gives him an energetic, independent, assertive, and commanding nature, driving his ambitious pursuit of goals. The 9th house is also the Karaka for father. The Lord, being placed in the first house, shows the luck of wealth that he obtained from his father. Mars is real estate, it's development of property. He inherited properties and developed some too. He has a billionaire status and is the owner of numerous high-profile companies and assets. Both Mars and the ascendant are closely conjunct at 3 and 6 degrees, respectively, in Magha Nakshatra. Magha Nakshatra is ruled by planet Ketu. So his personality is very influenced by Mars, and his actions influenced by Ketu. The deity of Magha Nakshatra is the Pitris. The Pitris are represented by the ancestors, our forefathers, our founding fathers, suggesting a deep-rooted responsibility to fulfill what the ancestors might have envisioned in his mission, to make America great again. As his ascendant nakshatra, the sense of duty towards the land of his forefathers is embedded in his consciousness. The symbol of Magha Nakshatra is the throne. And how adept is that? He has been on the throne in his personal life and as the former president. Ketu, the Nakshatra Lord, is conjoined with the moon in his 4th house, the house of home, of ancestral land, of birth country, symbolizing his commitment to fight for his country's protection and prosperity. This all adds up to the mission we see him fighting for. It makes absolute sense. Do you see a picture of his life coming together here? This is the unfoldment of karma, and he has to fulfill what is asked of him. We all do, in whichever way our own birth chart dictates us to. This mission in Make America Great Again is evident and expressed in his speeches, his press conferences, rallies, and debates, where he articulates his intention through specific policies that he plans to put into place. These include, and we hear him almost every day talking about this, they include expanding natural gas accessibility and opening the pipeline, in his words, drill baby drill, reinstating fracking, revising immigration policies, implementing tax reforms, creating new jobs, ending the war on terror, especially when we see what is going on right now with Iran and Israel and Palestine and the war between Ukraine and Russia. He just wants to end all of this. His mission is to talk and get people to cooperate with each other. And this is Magha Nakshatra. This is Ketu's influence on him. He wants to secure the borders, renegotiate trade deals, transferring birth and abortion rights to states. He is so passionate about reducing food and gas prices, decreasing overall inflation, strengthening the economy, and enhancing safety through gun laws and the regulations related to this. There are so many things more that I can mention here. In the second house of speech and value system is placed Jupiter in the warrior nakshatra of Chitra, owned by Mars. This makes him very detail-oriented, and his speech is analytical, it's bold, direct, often sharp, and unfiltered. He does speak on law implementation and enforcement, which is a Jupiterian influence. But at times, the Mars influence makes his speech unfiltered, and he speaks out against his opponent in an aggressive and frustrated manner. Mars wants action. It wants order. It wants structure. And it frustrates him when there's all talk and no action, or no talk and no action. He's unafraid to express his opinions. Mercury, the lord of the second house of Virgo, is in a Papkatri yoga. And a Papkatri yoga is where a planet is hemmed in between malefics. And in this case, we have Mercury hemmed in between the malefics of Rahu and Saturn. And the impact of this is that he's not able to hold back what he wants to express. And he's not friends with the press either, who criticize him and have been untruthful about him. Chitra Nakshatra is in Pada 1. It makes him an advocate for dharma and righteous doing. So to sum up, I can say that his speech is aggressive, but with a dharmic mission. Only the tool of Vedic astrology is able to dig so deep into the psyche of an individual and reveal why people do what they do. Should Chitra Nakshatra been in Pada 3, then Mr. Trump would have been fulfilling this mission to be president for his own desire. In the third house of Parakrama, which is self-effort, once again the three Karakas are Mars for courage, bravery, energy, and drive. Mercury for communication, intellect, speech, and negotiation. And Jupiter contributes to wisdom and counsel. All three planets are in a stable dignity to support him in his campaign. Libra, the sign of the third house, is big on partnership. Donald Trump chose Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate, who is well versed in politics and law implementation. He has excellent communication advocacy and influential skills to heighten his efforts in fulfilling his mission and getting back to the White House. With Venus, the lord of the third, being placed with Saturn, does bring losses, struggles, and delays. But he's able to overcome. We will see a little later on how that happens. I spoke about Ketu's influence on the fourth house, but Ketu is conjoined the moon here as well. Moon, being the 12th lord, shows a very deep-rooted, protective, spiritual, and emotional connection to his homeland of the United States. This is a full moon, and there's a presence of a lunar eclipse at the time of birth. He has faced many difficulties and struggles, but he emerged successful, as it is in the star of Jyesta. The lunar eclipse bestows upon him an intuitive and insightful nature. His heart lies with his mission to elevate and safeguard the nation. And he has plans. Mr. Donald Trump has plans for strong domestic policies that he wants to put into place, like energy independence, economic growth, and national security. These are all fourth house things that's very important to him to take care of. Now, Moon and Ketu, both being in the Jyesta Nakshatra, ruled by Mercury, indicates a calling to command, lead, and protect, despite the envy it may attract to him from others. Jester blesses him with the consciousness that life has to change. And when that happens, he has to contribute to make it happen. It is kind of an intuitive energy and cosmic force of the nakshatra upon him that makes him conquer what others have not. Respect and dignity for people of the land is the priority here. Jester represents elders, and the future of elders in the country are very important to him. He always makes that known. Do you see how this ties up with his mission of Magha Nakshatra and the ancestors in the first house? It's a very interesting and amazing unfoldment in this chart. To protect the legacy of the people who have departed the land and the people who are still living on the land is a huge mission given to him to fulfill. Whether he does it as president or not, he has to contribute. Nature has given him a position in order to carry this out. There is a presence of two other important yogas in the chart. One is Kendram Yoga in the 4th house of Scorpio, formed by Moon and Ketu. This has given him some instability in professional life. It has influenced difficulty to connect with half of the public support or fully secure unwavering grassroots support. It has caused him to be misunderstood. But with Sun and Moon aspecting each other and forming a Raj Sambandha, it has nullified some of the malefic influence from this yoga. Sun's aspect on this yoga holds him accountable to deliver the truth through a political career. He continues to pioneer on and focus on tangible achievements, reformist views, and a detached strategic approach to leadership, fostering resilience in the often unstable arena of political life. Moon is about nurturing, and Ketu fosters humility, justice, and equality, of which he is a catalyst for. Showing its presence is also Kalasarpa Yoga, where all the planets in the D1 are placed on one side of the chart, between the Rahu-Ketu axis of Taurus and Scorpio. Rahu, known for its influence over ambition, intensifies his natural leadership qualities and desire for recognition, worldly success, and unconventional paths, combined with Leo's inherent qualities of courage and authority. This yoga has really pushed Mr. Donald Trump towards a political career that feels fated or driven by an inner compulsion to make a mark on a grand scale. In the political context, Kalasarpa Yoga led him to sudden rises and falls in public standing, which has happened in the 2020 presidential election. Periods of fame have been countered by controversies and abrupt setbacks. But ultimately, this yoga pushed him to undergo inner transformation, to learn resilience and navigate the complex dynamics of power, which has led him to be where he is now, ready to leave a transformative political legacy after withstanding its tests. Moving to the 5th house, which is a Trikona house that is very important to support a political career. The sign is Sagittarius, associated with social welfare and focus on society. So it's ruled by Jupiter, and we know that Jupiter provides wisdom, expansion, and dharma. Dharma being righteous duty, which amplifies the themes of leadership and governance. Jupiter is also placed retrograde in the 2nd house, and as I mentioned, it is in Chitra Nakshatra, owned by Mars. Jupiter being the planet of law advisement and Mars, the planet of law execution, gave him a disposition into the world of politics. Rahu plays a role in that it aspects this Jupiter in the 5th Lord, amplifying his name and fame and giving him exposure in this area. Rahu makes one very famous and popular. But there has been some instability and sudden changes with Rahu's influence, as while Rahu gives something, it also takes it away. So the support of influential Gochara, the transits and the Dasha periods, Gochara, which is the transits and the Dasha periods, have to be seen for successful re-election. This fifth house is like having an apartment, but not always having the key to it. So the place to find the key is in the current transits and dashas. Mercury, the dispositor of Jupiter, is in the 11th house, in its own sign of Gemini, and in Ardra Nakshatra. Ardra Nakshatra is ruled by Rahu. Remember, Mercury is in Papkatri Yoga, as I said. It's hemmed in between Rahu and Saturn. So Mr. Trump faced a lot of annihilation, disrepute, and conspiracy against him. And it requires strong transits and dashas to help him overcome, and he did overcome. Later, we will also see how a strong 10th house helps him even further. Ardra Nakshatra, governed by the deity Rudra, which is a form of Lord Shiva, signifies transformation, power, and intellectual ability that gives him a desire to challenge norms, modify public policy, and social reforms that require and value transformative vision. Let's take a look at the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses of enemies, obstacles, and losses, as they are interconnected. Saturn is the 6th lord in the 12th house, conjoined the 10th lord Venus. It has a 9th aspect from Ketu. This shows open and hidden enemies and many challenges he faces from them, specifically in his career and public life. It is here that competition, conspiracy, and the legal issues for him arise. Saturn is in Punarvasu Nakshatra, owned by Jupiter. Jupiter owns the 8th house of scandals, sudden ups and downs, and obstacles. When he least expects it, controversies are thrown his way that threaten his career, reputation, his success, and life. He's always facing the threat of assassination, attempts on his life, imprisonment, investigations into his private and professional life, and heavy penalties. However, he does overcome through certain permutations in the chart. Let's take a look. Saturn moves from the 12th house in the D1 to the 11th house in the Bhava Chalit chart. So while he faces losses, endings, and treachery, he also receives freedom, recognition, support, and gain. Punarvasu Nakshatra helps him go beyond just working on his goals, but working for the purpose of the intention of the goal. Saturn, owning the 6th Dusthana house, being placed in the 12th Dusthana, makes it a Viparita Raj Yoga. This has been beneficial for him. It's worked in his favor because the Dusthana houses neutralize each other, resulting in a positive outcome. This yoga gives him success over enemies, and he achieves unexpected gains through adversities. Capricorn is the natural 10th house of career and reputation and public life. So the 6th house over the 10th natural house is trouble in that area of career, government, and reputation. The 12th house is over the natural 4th house. He faces challenges and the threat of endings through fighting for his country. Saturn is karma karaka, and whilst he faces the karma, he does overcome it. The 7th house. The 7th house is owned by Saturn. Saturn is the deal maker. Let's see how. Mr. Trump wrote a book called The Art of the Deal, a classic on believing in the American dream again. The 7th house is all about deal making, forming partnerships that work and offer mutual respect. Aquarius is a humanitarian sign, a sign that sees everybody equally and in a just manner. No wonder it is ruled by Saturn. This is a person who did the actual job of a president. And during his reign, the world never saw war because of his art of balance and negotiation. He carries the 7th Lord Saturn's energy of fixing things, being a deal maker. He is an American president that shook hands with the intention to build healthy bonds with top politicians and world leaders such as Mr. Modi, India's Prime Minister, Kim Jong-un, North Korea's President, Vladimir Putin, the President of Russia. This is a true demonstration of strong, unbiased leadership. having the willingness and the ability to create alliances with countries that the USA never had before. How and what made him be able to do this? Saturn's position conjoined Venus, the lord of the 10th of career and public life, in the 11th house in the Bhavachali chart, and in 12th position in the D1, influenced situations and circumstances in both negative and positive ways for him to foster talks, create negotiations and relationships with foreign leaders. He's against funding of wars and creating arms deals. He believes in talking, negotiating, and solving. He has been endorsed by top businessmen and politicians like Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK Jr. Ketu aspecting Saturn and Venus in the 12th house brought dishonest and false press reporting, manipulation in the presidential debate, and accusations of him being a dictator and a fascist. This was directed from sources such as the opposition party, NBC News, ABC, CNN, MSNBC. It has only been Fox News that has supported and reported the truth on who he is and what he wants to do for America. When asked by Sean Hannity if he will abuse the law and power and become a dictator if he becomes president, Mr. Trump answered to, "Only on day one, I will dictate that the wall gets put up and drill, drill, drill. Thereafter, never." His political values represents the USA's constitution, generosity and openness in accepting all religions, cultures, color, and gender in the world, and has worked to bring mutual peace between war-torn and divided nations, such as Palestine and Israel, Russia and Ukraine, embracing the Islamic group of Michigan, the Jewish, Catholic, Hispanic, and African American communities. He plans to continue funding the police force, the military, teachers, firefighters, to continue their public service duties in the most efficient manner. He is pledging to pass a law created in 1798 by the forefathers, Magha Nakshatra again. This law is called the Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798, intended to protect the US from foreign influences and to suppress dissent that was viewed as subversive to national security. Only Saturn driving the power of Sun can implement such action. Here's a breakdown of the laws with relevance to immigration. This law allows the president to deport any non-citizen suspected of plotting against the government, even in peacetime. It authorizes the deportation or detention of non-citizens from a hostile nation in the event of war or evasion. He understands public responsibility, definitely a Saturnian quality. He is born to serve humanity. This is his destiny, one that he has to fulfill. Remember, he was not a politician and had not been prepared to be one. He is a businessman in the real estate world, yet he could foster such great world negotiations. It had to be the influence of the most humble 7th Lord Saturn in the chart. Saturn is in Punarvasu Nakshatra, owned by Jupiter. Jupiterian qualities of advising, guiding, and nurturing people are seen through this nakshatra. The symbol of Punarvasu Nakshatra is the bow, and it signifies aiming at a target or a goal, but not just aiming at the goal, rather than aiming at the intention of the goal. Saturn's placement, partnering with the 10th Lord Venus in Punarvasu Nakshatra, we see a president with the qualities of a restorative leadership that ends the distress of the nation. It is Saturn that gives the green light for Sun to be the leader. Without Saturn, there can be no leadership. He won the presidential election in 2016 because of populism, but he demonstrated in his 4 years in office that he could create peace with other nations and world leaders, warding off war, keeping the gas and food prices affordable, raising economy. If this does not constitute greatness, then what does? One need not like his personality of sharpness and aggression, but his leadership is what is required. The state of the economy has reached such a low, almost bringing this country into an economic crash and Great Depression that once was. Mr. Trump is very saddened that the country that once went to the moon today is unable to even fill gas in their vehicles. Saturn is about karma, suffering, and in Mr. Trump's chart we see a Saturn that is ready to lead. It has created a Viparit Raj Yoga, nullifying the malefic influence of the 12th house of losses. After Hurricane Helene, he extended all the help he could with money of his own. This is an example of humanitarian qualities for those that are suffering and destitute. The 8th house has been discussed in its association with the 6th and 12th house. The 9th house is linked to the 1st house and has been discussed earlier with its association of Mars, the 4th and 9th ruler. The 11th and 12th house and its link to other houses has also been discussed, so I will not repeat an independent discussion of each of these houses. Now to the house that is most crucial to understanding why Mr. Trump will win this election, the 10th house. The 10th house is in Taurus, and it is ruled by Venus, giving him a love for a career that affords him material security and comfort. Taurus reflects a strong desire for practicality, stability, and recognition. The powerful Sun, the ruler of the 1st house of Leo, is placed here, indicating that his reputation, leadership, rulership, public responsibility, and a regal outlook to his career dominates this 10th house. The Sun has a very tight conjunction with Rahu, the North Node, in the 10th house. Rahu is known to amplify the qualities of the house it occupies and planets it conjoins. So it amplifies the career, public life, and role of the Sun in this house, signifying an unshakable and expanded confidence in himself and his mission to lead. Rahu adds both ambition and a desire to leave a legacy. Rahu's influence gives a powerful Raj Yoga here, elevating his status as a businessman with the worth of a billionaire and becoming a powerful political figure. It's brought an intense drive for success and material achievements. He gets worldwide recognition. Nothing gives more fame than Rahu when it forms a Raj Yoga, which equates to a kingly status in life. There has been great success in high positions and he is very much in the public eye. Sun gets Digbale here, directional strength, in the 10th house, making him very powerful, flamboyant, successful, and well-known and commanding public image. With the Sun, the ascendant ruler, positioned in the 10th house of work and career, and Rahu influencing him to extremes for success, his career in politics, government, and public responsibility becomes almost a fate and a destiny to fulfill. Rahu is one's fate. Venus, the 10th lord, is conjoined Saturn in the 12th house in D1, but shifted to the 11th house of the Bhavachalit chart, giving it a successful dignity of recognition, networking, and gain of affluence after setbacks, delays, and hard work. With Venus shifting to the 11th house in the Bhavachalit chart, it strengthens the position of Sun. I did discuss how Venus is in the nakshatra Punarvasu, which will return something to him that was previously taken away, in this case related to the 10th house, and that can only be the win of the presidency. He is currently running the Mahadasha of Jupiter in the Antradasha of Venus. The fruits of a planet is delivered during the Dasha periods, and I will discuss this shortly. Since the 10th house is related to career, reputation, and authority, planets associated with the 10th house in a positive way can form what is called a Raj Sambandha. This is a royal connection, indicating professional success and societal influence. So Sun and Moon in this chart are aspecting each other and forming this Raj Sambandha. Sun and Rahu are both in Mrigashira Nakshatra, Pada 2. The symbol of this nakshatra is the head of the deer, and the deity is Soma, the moon. His consciousness, represented by the sun, is always purposefully seeking, determining, progressing, and moving forward in pursuit of fulfilling a mission to lead. We have seen this in the time period of his previous presidency and the plans he has now on taking the country forward. It's not only talk, but action with him. Mars rules this nakshatra and makes him goal-oriented, action-oriented. Rahu in Mrigashira nakshatra gives him a lot of debt that he has to pay back to society in the form of being a powerful leader. He did not lead in a previous life, so his soul has incarnated to do it now. This is the understanding of how karma unfolds through the stars. He has always been purposefully seeking something more. The ultimate goal of Mrigashira nakshatra is to find the truth and live it until the end. So with Sun, which represents his consciousness and the seeking of purpose of life, and Rahu being one's debt in Mrigashira, Mr. Trump's goal is to lead, advise, problem solve, and direct people to the truth of what they seek. For him, life is about the journey, which will find its destination. Being in Pada 2, he wants and wishes comfort, luxury, and wealth of all forms for the nation. It is this placement of planets in the 10th house that made him a real estate mogul, a billionaire, a master communicator, and leader in the 10th house of public responsibility. Sun and Rahu in Mrigashira have bestowed him with the responsibility to be in authority while holding on to fair tradition and stability. With a 4th house moon and Sun in the 10th house, which are in opposing houses to each other, and aspecting each other in the chart indicates that he is seeking peace, happiness, and greatness through his career for his homeland, the USA. There is also the presence of Uranus in the 10th house, signifying a dynamic interplay of energies. Uranus here brings unpredictability and innovation, seen in his unconventional style and willingness to break unfair traditional molding. Uranus represents sudden changes, rebellion, and unconventional thinking, breaking old patterns and challenging unfair traditions. It embodies individuality, freedom, and a strong drive for progress and reform. Change has to come. Jupiter, the law advisor, casts a 9th aspect on Rahu and Sun and balances its materialistic tendencies with wisdom and morality. Mr. Trump understands that dharma towards people matters more than his personal karma, his personal desire. Leo is a dharmic sign. Sun is a dharmic planet. The dharma of the country will prevail under his leadership. As we go forward, we will see how the current planetary gochara, which are the transits, will support this 10th house in winning on the day of election, November 5th, 2024. The Atma Karaka and Amatya Karaka positions in the chart. Let's talk about this as it gives us a picture of what life purpose is and how it is achieved. The Atma Karaka planet, with the highest degree in the chart and being the soul's mission and purpose, goes to planet Sun at 29 degrees. His mission is to rule. Sun is a leader, a king. Amatya Karaka is Moon at 28 degrees. This is the planet with the second highest degree in the chart, and that which will help the Atma Karaka to do its job in fulfilling the soul's mission. It is very clear from both the Atma Karaka and Amatya Karaka that he is born to be a leader, and he can only do this through nurturing, protecting, and bringing comfort, giving hope, happiness, and truth to his birth country and its people. He does this through his 10th house of prestige, reputation, public responsibility, and position, where Sun is both the Atma Karaka and the Lagna Lord. and the fourth house of birth and home country, where Moon is the Amatya Karaka Lord. Fourth house is heart and emotions. Underneath Donald Trump's feisty outward nature is a man whose heart is very emotional and passionate about his country, about life itself. He never expresses a softer emotion, as the fourth house is private life, and Ketu makes him turn inward to deal with this. He has what is called tough love. By nurturing and protecting the USA, he is nurturing and protecting the world. Millions of people throughout the globe idolize, build their dreams, and benefit from all the foreign opportunities and foreign aid available in this country. It is very clear in his chart that he has the job of both the sun, who is the protector, and moon, the nurturer of his birth country. Rahu with the sun amplifies the Atma Karaka. He has a lot of focused energy, is result-driven from what we see in the 10th house platform. If this is his mission, per the stars, he has to fulfill it, and nobody can contest it. To lead is to be exceptional. The D10 chart. Mr. Trump is much senior and has already experienced most of what this chart will reveal. The D10, known as the Dasamsha chart, is used in Vedic astrology to show a microscopic analysis and trajectory of the career. With Libra rising in the D10 chart, his career intentions are often aligned with the seeking of balance, harmony, diplomacy, and social service. Sun, the 11th lord, and Rahu, the north node of the moon, are placed in the first house of self. This combination gives him a unique blend of authority, ambition, networking, and a drive for recognition in his professional life. Sun gives him a sense of identity in the workplace that is linked to career gains, reputation, and social connections. Again, with Sun here, we see someone who's born a leader. With Sun being debilitated in Libra, he works even harder to achieve. Rahu conjoined the Sun bestows a strong desire to be recognized and admired in the professional world. Rahu makes him restless, with an amplified thirst for career advancement, sometimes driving him to unconventional approaches to make a mark. We can see here how a businessman and real estate mogul who developed and owned high-rise buildings and casinos entered the world of politics and became the president of the country. This is the work of Rahu. Rahu's influence can add foreign connections or associations with unusual or diverse groups, helping him to gain support from unconventional quarters, and we have seen this through the D1. His acceptance and embracing of different leaders and different cultures, people of color. He does experience power struggles as well, but he adds diplomacy and innovation to make his mark. In the D1, we saw how Venus, the 10th lord, was placed with Saturn, the 6th and 7th lord, in the 12th house. But both planets moved to the 11th house in the Bhavachali chart, affording a better position for success, networking, and gain. We also saw how Saturn, being the 6th lord, placed in the 12th, created a Viparit Raj Yoga, negating its usual malefic effects. Here, in the D10, Venus has become the 1st and 8th lord, conjoined Saturn, the 4th and 5th lord of politics, in the 6th house. However, Venus being the 8th lord and placed in the 6th house once again negates its malefic effect, and we see outcomes of this when he filed for bankruptcy, almost got impeached, escaping an assassination attack, conspiracies, and multiple criminal charges that were brought against him. The 6th house is duty towards career. He is service-oriented as a leader. with the Lord of Service himself, Saturn, who's all about hard work and discipline, placed there. It is here that we see inheritance from the 8th Lord, but working hard and creatively with what he received from his father. His father stayed with single-story homes, but he went high in building. He prefers peace, balance, and justice in the political arena, even in challenging environments. Debts and open enemies, apart from secret enemies of the 8th house and 12th houses, are seen here. But Saturn allows him to stay within his dignity and protects him, as it is a Yogakaraka planet here, owning the 4th Kendra and the 5th Trikona houses. The 5th Lord in the 6th house demonstrates his creativity, intelligence, and ability to understand the needs of people and serve in that area. Saturn is all about serving. Mars is the 2nd and 7th Lord, placed in the 12th house. He has had losses from earnings, partnerships, and business deals. With Mercury being the 9th Lord in the 2nd house, indicates a part of his wealth being from paternal inheritance, and Bhagya meaning luck, the luck that he received from this inheritance. Mercury as the 12th Lord shows hidden enemies, huge expenses, and the threat of imprisonment. The 6th, 8th, and 12th houses all show the conspiracies, scandals, and charges against him related to his career. With Mercury and Mars changing signs, he somehow does overcome. Jupiter, the 3rd and 6th Lord, is retrograde in the 4th house of contentment of career. It is very significant that Jupiter, the law advisor, is placed here and helps Mr. Trump with being content and happy with his mission and professional life. It just got better in time for him. Even enmity has not set him back. Mr. Trump finds a deep sense of satisfaction, joy, and meaning in doing what he does. It makes him return to try again. There is also the presence of a Neech Bhanga Raj Yoga formed by Jupiter and Saturn exchanging signs and Jupiter being placed in the 4th Kendra. This results in the cancellation of the debilitation of Jupiter in the 4th house, making it stronger and elevating his abilities, success, reputation, and status. He overcomes obstacles, difficulties, setbacks, and often rising to a prominent position after initial struggles. With the current major planetary period being Jupiter and the activation of Punarvasu Nakshatra, owned by Jupiter, there is definitely an opportunity to win. Puna in Sanskrit means again. One of the themes of this nakshatra is reoccurrence. Something repeats itself. The presence of Gajakesari Yoga is also seen in the D10. Jupiter is 10th from the moon, which marks significant career rise during its Dasha period. Gajakesari Yoga is Jupiter being 1, 4th, 7th, or 10th away from the moon. In this case, Jupiter is 10th away from the moon. This yoga bestows upon him power, influence, wealth, wisdom, and good reputation. Jupiter and Saturn exchanging houses is also known as a Parivitan Yoga, demonstrating a pact by the planets to support each other's significations. Jupiter also indicates a career tied to real estate. Jupiter, the planet of opportunities, is very popular in this chart. Also to add, Saturn and Venus are in Vargotama. Vargotama is showing that Saturn and Venus conjoined again in the divisional charts provide discipline, endurance, a sense of responsibility, long-term stability and success. This is what we see when the 10th house of the D1 is surgically opened up. It shows the physiology of career life. Moon, the 10th lord, and Ketu, the south node of the moon, are in the 7th house of business, partnerships, and relationships. Moon is about fostering and nurturing good relationships, partnerships, and dealerships. There is a connection with others on an emotional level. It is about bringing forth transformation and change. We see how his career takes an unconventional approach in partnering up with the right people to fight a cause. With Ketu conjoined the moon in the 7th house, Ketu is all about fighting a cause. It is here that we see the use of a healthy ego by Mr. Trump in his public life. While Rahu inflates ego, Ketu does the opposite in its relation to the 10th lord in the D10. The south node Ketu is about fighting for correct approaches, fairness, justice, and staying impartial and unbiased. We hear this in his plans for the border crisis and illegal immigration issue in the country. He welcomes immigrants but asks them to pursue it legally, because legally will keep them deserving and accountable, so that there is mutual benefit, safety, and fairness to the people of the land. We also hear his intentions into ending the wars of power struggle in different regions of the world that impacts its alliance with America and each other. North Korea has an alliance with Russia to gain momentum over Ukraine. North Korea also wants power over South Korea. South Korea is an alliance of America. China wants to gain power over Taiwan. Mr. Trump wants coalition with other countries, peace talks, and negotiations. He looks at that as a resolution to wars. A renewed Trump administration would likely see ambitious efforts at direct negotiation with North Korea, Russia, Ukraine, China, Israel, and Palestine. His strategies towards North Korea and China appear to be shifting from his earlier hardline positions to a more engagement-focused approach, emphasizing economic deals and direct diplomacy. Ketu also has allowed him to let go of a lot of what has not served his mission in the world of business and politics to make America great again. A business-oriented, celebrity and political career with a lot of self-effort, hard work, and sacrifice towards it, while receiving enmity and various attacks, are clearly seen in the D10. With Sun and Rahu and Moon and Ketu in opposing positions from each other, this has balanced both the ego and detached approach to career. The Dasha periods. These are the current planetary periods ruling over Mr. Trump's life. He is in Jupiter Mahadasha, which started in 2016. Venus Antradasha, which started at the late end of September, and Venus Pratyantadasha. The Pratyantadasha of Venus will end at 6 weeks post the inauguration day. Let's take a look at the dissection of the current planetary periods. Jupiter, the Mahadasha Lord, is retrograde in the 2nd house of value system, and the 2nd house is a Marakasana house, which is a death-inflicting house, necessitating considerable caution and protection for life, and we have seen the assassination attempts on his life. Jupiter is in the nakshatra of Chitra, owned by Mars. The symbol of Chitra nakshatra is the pearl that is contained in a very hard shell. This means that after much ordeal, much attempt, immense change, his true efforts will shine through. Chitra nakshatra is about structure and organization and establishment of the truth. The ruling deity of Chitra is Twavstar, who blesses him with the energy to be an architect of using the truth and facts to create order when it has been disrupted. Mars is placed in the first house in Magha Nakshatra. Mars is linked here as it owns Chitra Nakshatra. And we learned earlier that Magha Nakshatra is ruled by the Pitris, the forefathers, founding fathers. He has been given the responsibility to rule the country and the nation as Mars rules the fourth house of homeland. We can see here that many nakshatras of the different planets associated with his dashas come together to give us a meaning. Venus is conjoined the 6th and 7th Lord Saturn in the 12th house of losses and hidden enemies. Venus shifts to the 11th house in the Bhavachali chart. And I did discuss this earlier, which strengthens its potential for gains and accolades. Saturn creates a Viparit Raj Yoga, negating the malefic effect in the 12th house. He has to be careful, however, about hidden enemies. The Jupiter-Venus Dasha period, which is a 311 position, is of moderate strength. The 311 position means that the planets are at 3 and 11 positions away from each other. Venus and Saturn are both positioned in Punarvasu Nakshatra, ruled by Jupiter. Punarvasu holds the promise to return something that was previously taken away or did not work out. So, together, Chitra Nakshatra, Magha Nakshatra, and Punarvasu Nakshatra favors a win. I will discuss the current transits of the Dasha Lords and other planets as they are also required to be transiting favorably in the skies for a win. The transit chart on the night of the elections, the 5th of November 2024, and its activation over the birth chart. Transits are very important because as planets move, they activate events in life, most especially the transits of the Dasha Lords. On this day, Jupiter is retrograde and placed at 25 degrees in the sign of Taurus, advancing towards the Sun and Rahu in natal 10th house, and aligning closely with Uranus at the midheaven, signaling a sudden unexpected shift in status. This transit Jupiter forms a trine with natal Jupiter in the 2nd house, which is very powerful for political power. Jupiter is transiting in Mrigashira Nakshatra in the 10th house and in Pada 1 owned by Mars. Mars is the chief and commander, ready to fulfill the dharma of the 10th house. This transit Jupiter casts a 5th and 7th aspect to both the natal Jupiter and the natal moon, respectively, which strongly suggests transformation, victory, and gain. Saturn, the 7th Lord, is transiting in its own sign of Aquarius and is in Satabhishak Nakshatra, owned by Rahu. Saturn aspects the natal Lagna, and much caution for his life is required here. And it also aspects the natal moon. However, Jupiter casts a beneficial aspect on the moon and provides protection. Rahu is instability, so there will be much tension and instability on that day. Rahu is transiting over the 8th house in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, owned by Saturn. So we see here that Saturn and Rahu have exchanged in nakshatras. This is a powerful karmic exchange, pushing hidden truths and past actions to the surface. This period can bring heightened scrutiny, with past decisions, actions, hidden truths, and unresolved issues to the surface. And a lot of this has already been occurring. It can influence scandals and controversies, bringing it out all again. Rahu's influence encourages revelations, while Saturn demands accountability and transparency. So it looks as if the opposing party will be searching in every avenue to question the credibility of Mr. Trump. Venus, as the natal 10th lord, transits in the natal 4th house in the sign of Scorpio at 29 degrees, closely conjoining the natal moon by 1 degree. Transit Venus aspects the natal sun, Jupiter, and Uranus across the 10th house. Jupiter reciprocates by aspecting both the natal moon and transiting Venus across the 4th house. These two great benefics indicate substantial opportunities. Despite Venus's Gandanta position in the natal 4th house, which weakens it slightly, the overall alignment is highly favorable. He is currently running the Mahadasha of Jupiter, Antradasha of Venus, and Pratyantadasha of Venus. This is an activation of a win for Mr. Trump. Venus is also the Jiva Karaka, so he has to be extra vigilant about the protection of his life, a Gandanta effect of Venus sitting at the border of Scorpio, a water sign, and Sagittarius, a fire sign. This is a very volatile period. Mars is transiting in the 12th house in the sign of Cancer, which is directly over the natal Saturn and Venus, and aspecting transit Saturn. This transit influences volatile situations, and once again highlights the need for vigilance regarding safety and security on this day and up to the period of June 2025. In the upcoming months, the Mars transit goes further into Shushupti, a deep sleep or dormant state, and Shuddhita Avastha, a starving or malnourished state. So while it has lost energy, it will still be volatile. He has to be careful of attacks on his life, step up broader security, and be aware of hidden enemies and hidden agenda. The transits in this period carry exceptional influence, offering a powerful boost to his prospects. But added security for Mr. Trump's life is certainly required during this period. The current BCP house, Brigu Chakra Padati house. Mr. Trump has his 7th house activated this year as he has crossed his 78th year of life and is in the 79th year. The 7th house represents harmony and equilibrium, directly opposing the 1st house of personal identity and self-expression. It emphasizes the art of building relationships, alliances, and partnerships. This year of his life encourages introspection, offering growth through cooperation, compromise, and embracing others' viewpoints, fostering new development and a sense of connectedness. Saturn, the ruler of the 7th house in the D1, and Venus, the ruler of the 10th house, are conjoined in Punarvasu Nakshatra under the influence of Jupiter. Puna means again, and one of the themes of Punarvasu Nakshatra is reoccurrence. Something happens again. Jupiter is currently transiting in the 10th house of career, and natal Jupiter aspects the 10th house in the D1 chart. Jupiter is guiding the domain of public relationships and partnerships. This alignment hints at a period of elevated public responsibility, as Jupiter's influence on Saturn signifies a call towards more significant engagement and leadership, guiding one towards a role of a broader societal impact. To conclude, I'd like to reiterate that astrology offers a rich landscape of insights, and while countless celestial influences remain open for further exploration, the analysis presented here affirms a pathway to favorable outcomes. During Mr. Trump's previous administration, the United States saw notable stability, economic prosperity, secure borders, and heightened national security, alongside advancements in natural resource development. This period was marked by strategic actions, fostering growth and stability across diverse sectors. In analyzing Vice President Kamala Harris's astrological chart, much like my analysis of Donald Trump's, I find a stronger alignment towards a judicial career rather than a presidential aspiration. Her chart highlights personal advancement and self-mastery over broad-scale public leadership, suggesting her strengths are optimally channeled in her current role in the judicial system. Should Kamala Harris win the presidential election, it may reflect popular opinion rather than a foundational alignment with the enduring principles of serving the nation, its people, its constitution, and the Declaration of Independence guarantee of liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. True national well-being hinges on secure borders, a thriving economy, domestic job growth, American manufacturing, stable gas and food prices, a climate of safety from threats, and fair immigration policies. Has this been achieved under the current administration? As you decide, I urge you to look beyond race, politics, or gender, prioritizing a leader who embodies honesty, integrity, and vision for sustainable improvements. Real leadership is grounded in reliability, loyalty, accountability, and fulfilling promises. These are the essential qualities that America needs in its leader. In casting your vote, choose not merely a president, but someone who genuinely represents your interests, who will respond to your needs, and who will drive enduring positive transformation for the country's future and its citizens' well-being. Look for someone committed to upholding the Constitution and dedicated to not just leading, but sincerely serving. Only by making such a choice can we sustain the American dream of a truly great nation. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Namaste.